You're listening to Optional Opinions, the only podcast done by average dudes for average Joes. So quit listening, Maya.
All right, so we're here to talk about House of the Dragons, episode 5. I am one of the co-hosts, Brandon.
I'm Kyle, I guess. Are we doing that? Do we do that?
I'm Davis, and I don't think we do that.
We did it like in the very beginning, and I realized we probably should because like anyone that finds us is going to have no clue what our names are.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. We definitely should. You're definitely on the right here.
So I'm not going to edit any of that out. This is authentic.
This is how podcasts are made.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just trying to reduce my workload. That's all I'm really doing.
Yeah, shout out to our editor, Brandon.
Authenticity.
Who is totally not this Brandon. This is a very big operation.
Yeah, we have another Brandon.
So there's a
good guy.
Yeah, there's another Brandon that we pay because of all of our Patreon subscribers.
We do have a Patreon account.
We do?
Wait, actually?
Yeah, I've never done anything with it, but I did set it up.
Sweet.
So if you want to subscribe to our Patreon account, I'll put the link in the description. Why not?
Sweet.
Shout out. You could be the supreme platinum level.
I have actually
founder. That's the right. Yeah, you could be a founder.
Let's go. I have a bunch of crazy tiers that I set up. I had a ball with this one day. I was setting up a bunch of stuff for our podcast. That's when we got sponsored by Amazon for like half a second.
Oh, I remember that. Good time.
We technically still are, but I don't know. I just haven't. I've kind of forgot about it. Optional Opinions Patreon. Let's see. All right, we got memberships. Okay, yeah. So here's the tier list. Here, the first tier list is for $3 a month. The title of that tier is Opinions Are Still Optional. And this is a blood oath. If you pledge $3 a month, you may never stop unless you really need to. But other than that, you may never stop. If you are subscribed for a whole year, you will be granted an optional...
trying to get us in legal trouble over here.
If you are subscribed for a whole year, you will be granted an Optional Opinions NFT.
Oh, now we're talking.
The next tier is for $5 a month, slightly less optional opinion. This tier will make your opinion slightly less optional in all aspects of life and all benefits from optional opinion.
That's
from
steal.
Opinion still optional. So,
will that work with my wife?
That is, yeah, you have to sign a legal doc that says that we are not liable for any.
Oh, damn.
And then there's a $20 per month tier. This is least optional opinion, and you will forever be able to gloat to your friends and family and random strangers on the internet that you have the least optional opinion. So, yeah, subscribe to our Patreon.
I like that. So you just get an NFT with the first tier and then nothing else for any of the other tiers.
Well, no, all benefits from the previous tiers apply. So like,
oh, good.
The NFT
everybody would get an NFT.
You would get the NFT.
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good with the copy paste function, so I can whip out some NFT.
So
I'm not even
I forgot about
Patreon.
that. Oh no! I wonder if it's not like public. At the very least, it'll be public by the time this podcast posts.
I don't know. I just in the search thing, I said optional opinions, and there's a bunch of people trading options, like for stocks. So,
Yeah. I got it.
We just have to compete with all the insider traders as well.
Yeah, that's no big deal.
It's what are called pickles options.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Dang, I might subscribe to that one instead.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not posting, but that will be figured out. Like I said, by the time this podcast airs.
We're leagues ahead of where I thought we were. So shout out to Brandon.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon.
Should we get into it? I wasn't here for the last episode, which is a bummer, but I feel like I missed a good one to chat about.
Yeah, it was Davis and I didn't really have anything to say. It was like a 20-minute episode.
Wait, actually?
No, I'm just joking.
Oh, I was like, I haven't listened to it yet, so I will listen to that one. I will listen to that one. Actually, it'll be the first one I've listened to, but
first one ever.
Maybe I shouldn't out myself. Davis, do you listen to them? I just feel weird listening to myself talk.
Yeah, so. I don't. Sometimes I haven't listened to all of these. I'll listen to like some of them about the movies, but I don't know. I've listened to some. I definitely listen to the ones that I'm not on, which is sometimes kind of frustrating because I'm used to hearing you guys talk and then being able to say stuff,
respond.
And there's so many times where you guys are like, you know, somebody forgets a name of somebody, and I'm like, that's not it. That's not it. Like,
yeah, I feel like we definitely need you for that.
Like I remember when we did the one with Chris Pratt, that movie Tomorrow World, and we were calling the monsters White Claws,
yes,
or something like that.
Yes,
that's right. I didn't even know the whole time.
All right, we.
So,
real quick, what did you think of the last episode? But not episode 5, episode 4. Just give us your synopsis.
My synopsis. Let's see. I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of enjoyed seeing Rhaenyra's rebellious side, I guess, per se. I don't know how you described it, but I think it's really her starting to go her. I guess she's always been kind of rebellious or whatever, but I felt like that was really the start of her going her own direction and doing whatever she wants. And so I think that's exciting. And yeah, I felt like this episode that we just watched followed it up really good, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about it. But I guess full disclosure, I watched it like I was traveling for work last week, and so I was working really weird hours, and you know, probably was half asleep while watching it. So I don't know how valid my opinion is on that episode anyway.
Well, it's always optional, so
true.
Worry.
Unless you subscribe to our Patreon,
correct?
It's not optional.
Unless you get that special tier.
But yeah, so this episode we started out with wow, I'm blanking on how I watched it. I watched it so long ago, a whole 24 hours. How did this episode open up? Great podcasting, guys. This is top tier.
They started. Oh, didn't it start? They were on the ship.
Yeah, because he was going to pitch the marriage between the two. So yeah, it started them on their way. The king like puking. He was disgusting. This man is unwell. Yeah. Although I guess that could just be seasickness.
Yeah, but I mean I feel like, I mean, he collapses at the very end.
Yeah, I feel like just general quick thoughts. Man, I thought this episode was a banger. I don't know about you guys.
It was, yeah, it was good. I think, you know, there's a lot of. It's hard for me not to be let down simply because I want to see, like, I want to know everything that's happening. You know, so like when the episode ends, I'm kind of mad because I'm like, what the heck? I wanted to, like, what happens next? But you're right. I thought it was a pretty good episode.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. I thought the emphasis they put on the Queen, Hightower's daughter, was just phenomenal. She was probably one of my favorite parts of this episode. Well, there's a lot of good stuff, but just like her whole entrance in the towards the end was just, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
The I don't know if you guys, I don't really I don't pay attention to scores very often, but like the score in this episode was phenomenal. Like, and I feel like it really has to be good for me to notice it, because usually it doesn't register with me at all. But it was great this episode.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really notice, so that's interesting. I'm sure you're right. I feel like with the budget that they have, they better have a good score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at IMDb, and did you guys know that this most recent episode right now is the highest rated on IMDb?
I did not
believe
know
it.
it,
I
but
totally believe
that's my personal opinion as well.
Which
So
it
I agree.
it looks like, so that could go away. Right now it's sitting at a 9.2. Lowest rated is the second episode with an 8.4. The first episode has 56,000 reviews, 57,000. And it kind of slowly goes down. 57,000. Second episode has 42,000. And it's like 41.6. Then fourth episode has 28,000, and then this one only has 15,000. So
does it go in terms of highest rated? Is it 5, 3, 1, 4, 2?
5, 3. Wow, it is.
Let's go. That's my personal opinion. That's my rating. So I'm nailing it. I'm nailing it.
Kyle's on fire.
Yeah, that was impressive. Way to go, Kyle.
Thank you. And would you guys say the same?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not for me, but definitely for our viewers. You should say them one more time.
5, 3, 1, 4, 2. So this last one was my favorite. Second favorite was the one with the battle. First episode was my third favorite. Yeah, and then between the second episode and the last episode, I thought they were pretty on par. They were pretty. I mean, mostly boring. Yeah, really, what I enjoyed most about the last episode was the Rainier portion where she's out, kind of escaping the town or escaping the whatever. Which was, I guess, I don't know. Yeah, not that much happened other than that. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, it was just interesting, kind of like you said, like that it started setting up what's happening now. Or I think that was like you said at the beginning, like that was the kind of instigation of her starting to become her own person and being like, this is what, this is what I want. And this is how I'm going to get it. And it kind of turns into, and then we see that kind of continuation of this in the fifth episode where she starts she's actually up kind of like making political moves with, what's his name? Valerian, I think, or Leon. I don't know. Starts with an L. But she's actually kind of say like, hey, so I know that we don't actually really want to be married to each other, but let's just, we can still get married. That's fine. Do our duty, but also like this is politically advantageous, so we should still do it. But there's a way for us to get what we want out of this relationship, even though like that's not supposed to be the main goal. So I think it was cool to see that out of her, because there's kind of that's a side of her that we've suspected is there, but we haven't really seen much of until recently.
I found it odd on why they traveled there to begin with. Like they even kind of mentioned it, like the queen that never was talking about how like it was so pathetic that the king would come to like basically beg for their son's hand, or essentially like, why didn't he, maybe I missed something, why didn't he have them like call them towards like,
I thought it was
King's Landing?
Yeah, because I thought I guess I don't know if this is accurate, but the two reasons that I had thought when it was happening is one, I think the king knows that he probably doesn't have that much longer to live. So he's trying to be expedient in these things. And so I think that was part of it.
Yeah.
Because sending a messenger there and then having them wait to come back, it would have just taken probably double the time at least. And then also, I think he realizes that the decision he made on who he married probably wasn't the correct decision. I think this is also partly him kind of admitting to that as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So yeah, he's dying fast. And then I don't know if you remember this, I think in the second episode, we all said that the king was going to be dead by the fifth episode. And we were kind of right.
Assuming that him collapsing is actually, that's actually what is happening. Like, it's him dying.
Yeah, he's probably going to still be alive at the very beginning of the next episode, but die very short. I would imagine, no?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, yeah, I think there's a couple things that could happen. They have him die at the beginning of next episode, or this is where their time jump just happens. Like, boom, now we're 10 years in the future or whatever, however many years the next time jump's going to be. I could see them just doing that because they kind of tied everything up pretty nicely in terms of that episode with the marriage already happening, the king possibly dying, and they already set up, who takes what's name. And so I don't know. I could see them doing a time jump off the bat.
Yeah. Did either of you, I'm guessing not, did either of you watch the preview for the next episode as well as the inside the episode?
I did not watch the preview. I skipped that, but I did watch the inside the episode.
Okay. Kyle, did you watch either of those things?
I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know that they were doing that for every episode.
So I didn't know there was that either.
So no, I didn't.
Davis literally informed me a bit about this the last episode because I always shut it off as soon as the preview starts up because I don't want to see it. I'd rather just go in blind.
I hit back as soon as them credits roll.
Okay, so Davis, if you know anything about the preview, I think you should abstain from talking.
Well, yeah, that's why I was confirming. I think maybe there's some interesting stuff that the people need to hear about, though, because I don't. If you guys both just want to go away for a second, and I have something to say.
But I mean, can't you just say it the next episode?
Yeah, I guess I could. But it'd just be more fun to say it now. I could wait. It's fine. Anyway,
how many people are going to be so mad that they don't get to hear?
I mean, it's Brandon's fault. So
no, I know. It's one of those things where when someone's like, "Oh, I have something to tell you, but I'm not going to tell you," it just it drives me crazy.
Well, we have on average about 5 people listening per episode, so
shout out if you're one of the 5. That's what's up. We appreciate you.
Yeah. So I do think. Well, I feel like now I can't even make any predictions because you guys will be like, "Well, did you see that in the preview, or are you just guessing? Is this an informed decision?"
Nah, I'll trust you. I'll trust you.
Okay. Well,
I won't read into it.
I think. I mean, just we're this far in the season, and knowing that, knowing that there is eventually going to be a time jump, I feel like it doesn't make sense for the time jump not to happen. Especially Kyle, like you said, I feel like we've, multiple episodes we've said, yeah, it feels like they're kind of set up now. Everything's pretty ready to go for the time jump. I think we said that at the end of the last episode, maybe, or maybe 2 episodes ago. So, I think if they're going to do it, I think it's time that they do. Unless they really want to, unless they really want to do it just at the very end of the season. and which kind of sucks for those actors.
I hope they don't do that. Yeah, now is definitely the time.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, and I think like you're right, especially now. I think we're set up more for like the high tower telling Allison like you got to make sure that Aegon is prepared to rule because otherwise the realm is going to fall apart if Rhaenyra is queen. And um, I think this would be a good place to time jump and see, oh, Rhaenyra's queen, but also she's kind of having to deal with this because right now, like everybody knows, you know, they're not going to put a 3-year-old or however he is on the throne when the king died. Like, I guess they could, but Rhaenyra has a very solid claim, and therefore, like, just the 3-year-old being like, it's kind of hard to argue for. Yeah, we should have the 3-year-old up there. But if he's older, like 16 or 17 or whatever, and is well liked by the people, then I could definitely see that being a big problem for Rhaenyra.
I also think just in terms of the time jump too is like it's very impressive how good like young Rhaenyra and Allison are because like they're killing it. And if you think about it, like I guess for their first season, you know, they did have so much money and they probably could do extensive casting, but like, you know, they're not cast for the long term. They're just cast for, you know, 5, 6, 7, whatever episodes until they time jump. You know, it's like they very easily could have just gotten whatever like she'll do, or you know, the young people they're fine. It's only, you know, X amount of episodes. So I'm very impressed with like the young cast overall because like they're really killing it.
Yeah, I will say though, I think like I think even after the time jump, that's not the last we're going to see of these young actors. I feel like there is like Game of Thrones loves to do, you know, kind of, especially it's kind of a necessity. I feel like to have flashbacks of like, remember this happened and like this is what we're talking about. So I feel like we're definitely going to see less of them, but I think we're still going to see them sometimes in, you know, certain scenes.
Yeah, for sure. But like, I guess I'm saying in the grand scheme of things, like they're gonna end up being a pretty small percentage of screen time.
Yeah.
If we get, you know, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 seasons, that, you know, half of one season. But yeah, I think they're killing it. Which I guess we probably said multiple times. So
they definitely have a bright future in front of them for Hollywood. So I'm excited to see them in other stuff.
Definitely. Although, do you think this might be bad? Because, like, I mean, I guess Kit Harington kind of does it to himself because he keeps, like, he looks like Jon Snow just around. He has the kind of long hair with the beard and everything. But everything I see him in, like when he was in Eternals, I think I and everybody else watching that movie was like, oh, it's Jon Snow. Like, he's a history professor now. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, besides like just wanting the movie to end, that's basically all I was thinking during that movie as well.
People hated that movie so much, and I don't understand. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I thought it was an average Marvel movie, to be honest. That's how I felt. But
it's probably one of the worst ones they've done, in my opinion.
Dang, shots fired. All right, back to House of Dragon. What did you guys think of the arc of Sir Criston Cole? He took quite the character arc this episode.
Yeah, I was a little confused, more than a little confused, because like he seems like a very honorable, upstanding guy, and you know, that's like how he's portrayed throughout the whole of the show, and then just all of a sudden he just kind of snaps, and I don't know like where that came from, or I guess, maybe we'll find out in this next episode that and I know the guy like said, something to him, but I don't know what that would have like. It's not. I think he just kind of. It seems like he just walked over and was like, "I don't like you," and then punched him, and then kept punching him until his face was all gross.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
I was not ready for that. I expected like a bruised face and like be like, oh yeah, he can come back for that, and then nope, that's not what we got.
Yeah,
not in the least bit.
Yeah, I'm very happy because April wasn't looking at the screen like the split second they showed it, and I was like, okay, you cannot look back up at the screen. You cannot look. It was disgusting.
Yeah, that was intense. I think they just wanted to make sure that you remembered you were watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah, there have been
we hadn't
times
seen anything like that in a while.
We're watching this, watching this show where like the very first episode was pretty gory, and there was like sex and stuff, and then you didn't really see much of it until, of course, the last episode. Like, oh yeah, this is Game of Thrones, and then kind of like you said, like this, it's another where you're like, oh yeah, this isn't just about like this show isn't just politics and stuff. It's also kind of gross sometimes.
Yeah, I'm also curious to see if they'll show us a little more insight into the immediate beforehand of that, because I mean it's clear he was there's a lot of internal wrestling going on with how he's degraded himself to whatever, and he's more honorable than that, and then being reduced to a whore in that one conversation they were having, and then just having to keep all these secrets, and then it coming out to the queen. Like clearly this man's going through a lot internally, just like mentally. So I'm not surprised that he snapped, but I would like to know. I hope they show us if the little snippet beforehand what exactly went down.
Yeah, I will say I was surprised that like I was and I wasn't surprised that he admitted that to the queen. Like the whole time, like I had a feeling just because of how vague she was being, he was going to admit to the thing and not realize like what she was asking. And I don't know, there's a part of me that thought he might lie for her, just because he'd asked her to like basically run away with her. So I don't know. That did shock me, but
I think,
like you said, he is a very honorable person. So like, at the same time, it doesn't. But it's like it could have been either or. I feel.
I think if she would have agreed to run away with him, then he would have lied for her and done whatever, assuming that they were even in that position. They hadn't gone away yet.
Yeah.
But I think at that point, he is feeling kind of dejected and. It's just kind of like, yeah, this really sucks. Like, I thought that she loved me more than the power and stuff, and I guess she doesn't.
Poor Sir Kristen.
Poor buddy.
I mean, he did kind of do it to himself.
He did, yeah.
It's not like he's just some random victim. He could have just walked away. So.
That's also true.
I still feel bad for him.
Yeah, he took quite the turn this episode, and yeah, I was a little surprised. I wasn't expecting that. I thought for sure he was dead. I thought for sure. End? Yeah, like I thought for sure.
So you didn't think that he was at risk of like getting killed? You thought he was going to do it?
Oh, 100% I did.
Yeah, same. I was. Yeah, I thought he was a goner, and I was really saddened by that. But then I was no longer sad.
Yeah, well,
because he did not die. Spoiler alert! In case any of you haven't watched it.
I think. Well, I guess here's a question: do you think? What do you think Allison is going to do about that information? Because she is very like, she made a bold statement about, like her wearing the green dress and all that. Like it was a very like, hey, I'm here. I'm not just like I have my own intentions and whatever. Um, do you think she's gonna try? Like, how could she use that situation to her advantage? Because the king, like, I feel like if she talks to the king, like the king's not really going to be able to do anything. And at this point, especially if Rhaenyra ends up becoming the queen, she's going to have so much power that it doesn't really matter. Um, so I think the only power that she really has is over Kristen Cole.
I think, yeah, it's going to be one of those things where it's like kind of like blackmail, and she's going to keep that over his head. And she would be like maybe his spy or something like that. But I think you could also, she could spread like quote unquote slander or rumors about her and her legitimacy, like trying to make a play for her son to take the throne.
That is
it could
true.
delegitimize her.
I could see it like a very, very easily for Rhaenyra has kids being like, actually, this kid isn't even the son of the king and the queen. Like, the queen has this other guy. How do we know it's not, this knight's kid and all this stuff? That would be interesting.
Yeah, I that's a good question. Just in terms of how is she going to use him to her advantage? Because it'll be very interesting.
I feel like early on in the season, she would not have.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
like,
she's definitely had a big arc this episode too.
Now she's like, my best friend basically got my dad kicked out for, like, I thought I believed her, but turns out she was lying, and now I'm kind of defenseless in this court because the king is dying, and I don't have many fans anymore. So, what do you guys think of the? I don't remember his name. The son of the Hand, the new Hand.
Oh, the little rat guy.
Sure.
He reminded me of that guy in Arcane. You know what I'm talking about?
Silco? The main bad guy?
No, the one that was like the scientist.
Oh, Victor?
I think it was Victor.
I never watched it. So.
The one who's living with the salamander type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
Yeah, he kind of came out of nowhere, but
yeah,
I do think he's going to play a big part, especially with just kind of, being the ultimate observer, like he kind of portrayed himself as. And who would I like? Kind of similar. I think he could play a role kind of similar to
Victor.
No, the bald guy in Game of Thrones who just kind of had his hands and everything.
Yeah,
the spider.
What's his name?
Viserys.
Oh, okay.
His nickname was the Spider.
I don't think it was.
Oh, interesting. Show. I don't remember that.
It was in the show. Yeah, they called him the Spider all the time.
Okay, well, whatever. Yeah, I don't remember that, but I feel like he could play a similar role.
Yeah, definitely
in this show. So I think he could have a really good future, in terms of, well, he's kind of already started, planting seeds and manipulating things how he wants them to go. So
yeah, and it's interesting. I guess that is another question, because how does that benefit? I mean, it's not really. I don't think it's really a way that. I don't think he really wanted to see her dad not be the Hand and whatever, but I think he did want Alicent to think of him as a trustworthy source of information. So, I think he's playing the real long game, and which is interesting that he's siding himself with the queen, um, because I feel like she's not very like she doesn't have a ton of power in her own right.
No, but I mean, most of the court and even the common people want Aegon to be the king and not her.
Yeah,
And so if you just do it by like sheer numbers, he's kind of just aligning himself with the way he thinks the course of events. Like he probably assumes there's going to be some sort of internal conflict or civil war or something. And, I mean,
yeah, that's true.
if I was a betting man, I would, in his place, I'd probably do the same. Like put my money where with Aegon as opposed to
Yeah,
Rhaenyra as well, just based off of what everyone else is saying about her.
that's true.
Yeah, plus Allison's like gonna be the one to raise the kid, and ultimately the kid's, whatever the kid wants is probably gonna be what Allison wants.
Yeah,
Kind of like Cersei and Tommen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, pretty much. So I think it'll be very similar to that, and I think he recognizes that. So what other big events happened? I feel like there's a lot this episode.
So okay, there was one. Did you guys ever watch Schitt's Creek?
Oh yeah, love
Kenzie
that show.
watched
I'm
it.
actually rewatching
Really?
it right now.
I've seen
So
episodes of it. I haven't seen all of it.
Do you remember the scene where they talk about like the bottle of wine, like white wine and red wine?
No, that's like
No.
such a. I don't know. No, I
It's
don't.
the one where they're talking about whether or not he's gay or not. Like him and I forget all their names because it's been so long since the main guy, David.
David.
And
His
the girl that runs the motel. Like there was like a
Oh.
whole scene, and it was like a pretty like popular scene that like they were talking about whether or not he was straight or gay or.
I feel like I vaguely remember, or I've seen that scene before, or I've seen it quoted or something.
Yeah, basically they were saying like he's like she was trying to figure out if he was gay, and he's like, "Oh, well, most people like red wine, and I like red wine and white wine. And you obviously just like white wine." Kind of that it was like that, and it was like the whole thing with like the goose and the duck.
Yeah,
It felt like to me that they like kind of ripped it off of Schitt's Creek, or it was an homage to Schitt's Creek. But maybe that's a thing that's like more common, but I've only ever seen that kind of thing done in Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, I feel like it's just such an easy way to talk around it without actually saying it.
Right.
I feel like it's just one of the easiest ways. So
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if that's a common way for shows and probably even real life, honestly. When people want to talk around something, I think that's, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
it is.
I think it's a good way to do it.
Yeah, no, it's for sure.
It is really interesting. I mean, I don't know. I guess it makes sense, but I just think it's funny that in this show where you can go to a brothel and like it's fine, or you can like it's more like there are very few seems like morals to speak of that like homosexuality is still a very outlawed like taboo thing even to talk about, it just seems like I don't know.
I don't know if necessarily it's like taboo because it's like outlawed or anything. They all seem pretty fine with it, but I think it was more of along the lines of like they're young kids and it's awkward to talk about sex.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember because remember it's kind of the same thing that happened with it wasn't Stannis. Who was the other Baratheon?
Oh, yeah, I guess you are right. There is a little bit of taboo. That was Renly.
Renly, yeah, and like, like I remember her being like, "Hey, like this is fine. Just like we need an heir, so like you like I don't care whatever you do, but I like we need to have kids basically."
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. It's interesting that I wonder if it is more that idea of like, well, like if you're doing that, that's not producing any heirs, so there's no point. Like if it's more of a king type of.
I don't think so. I mean, the father straight up, he said the classic line that probably,
It's a
so
phase he'll
many
grow
people-
out of it.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, I feel like that made it pretty clear that it was something to be looked down upon.
Yeah.
Maybe. I took that as more of like, yeah, like I guess maybe looking down on it to some extent, but it's more of like hopeful that like he'll want a wife so he can have like several kids so he can like continue their dynasty
Yeah.
or whatever. That's how I
Yeah.
took that, but I guess yeah, you could
I-
interpret it that way.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't think you write those lines like as a writer and mean it to be, oh yeah, I just want them to have kids. Like that was so clearly
Yeah.
a reference to however many kids have actually heard that from their parents. Like it you don't pick those lines if you're trying to get across that.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're probably
I just
right.
want them to have
That's
kids.
true.
But I guess that's kind of metagaming a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe he just didn't seem like he was like that upset about it. Just more of like hoping. But I guess, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think the choice of words was very specific from a writer's standpoint. That it's a pretty clear what they're referencing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do know that like some of the like religious lore like in Game of Thrones, I know that the Targaryens when they invaded kind of took the power that the church had like completely away. Like they basically stripped them and they don't have like any power. And that was one of the things plot lines of Game of Thrones with like I forget the priests' names, but it was like the birds or something like that.
It's some,
Cersei,
something.
sparrows, something. Yeah. Cersei gave them power. It was like part of her political play. She regave them a bunch of power that the Targaryens had taken from them. So, but I know they seem pretty much they seem pretty adamant that it's bad.
Is there anything else? I don't know if there's a ton of other things to talk about.
I guess really the only thing is the almost could have been once again between Daemon and Rhaenyra.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was pretty interesting, especially just how public it was. And so I wonder if they're just going to play that off like, oh, it was really crowded, nobody actually saw what was happening, or if it's going to be one of those subplots that grows larger in future episodes. And
Well,
I was very surprised too at how quickly they got married.
The shotgun wedding.
Yeah, that it was just like, oh, this guy's dead, so we need to get married now.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I didn't really understand why it was so fast.
I think part of it is just because, like, he was planning this huge feast, and he was like, "We already had this weird, like, mishap. Let's just we'll just get them married so that we know it's done, and we don't have any other, like, the possibility of any other weird stuff happen. Like, it's kind of like, we already had an attack, or tensions are already high, so let's not make the possibility, like, let's not drag this out. Let's just have this wedding, and then we can deal with stuff later. We can, like, we have more ability to send people home.
Yeah, that also, I guess, just, I don't know why I didn't think of this when it was happening, but I guess the king very much saw what was happening between Rhaenyra and Daemon, and so I'm sure it was also him being like, yeah, that's not happening. They're getting married right now. Was also probably
that, and like he started like bleeding from his nose or like coughing up blood or something like that, and he's probably concerned. He just wants to like make sure that if he was to die like within like the next couple of hours, like she would be well established with like good allies for her reign. Yeah,
that's true.
It's probably like a multifaceted decision. But probably mostly to do with those 2 points.
Oh, the thing we haven't talked about yet, or maybe not forgot, but just haven't touched on, is Damon's wife. Dude, she was awesome. I was so upset.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
so
cool. Like all of
cool.
a sudden, like yeah, she's such a cool character, and it's like we get her on screen for what 1-2 minutes. Like, come on, she
Yeah,
seemed dope. So I that's my biggest. I'm bummed mostly about. Is
dude,
like,
her leather armor was so cool. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it was beautiful, and like just her whole character is just great.
Yeah.
And then she got her back snapped in half.
Yeah. I mean, Brandon, did you watch the Inside the Episode this time?
I did, yes.
Okay. So, yeah, I was like, they said at the Inside the Episode, they're like, we've been talking about referencing this character for so long. We figured like the best time to meet her is right before she dies, basically. And I was like, that's lame. But it makes
yeah,
sense.
what
It
the
makes
heck?
sense writing wise because you can't really spend that much time on so many of these stories. Like you can with Game of Thrones when you have like 8 seasons to work with, but House of the Dragon, there's only 2 seasons. If you know that you're not planning on keeping her around, it would be
Wait, there's only 2
hard.
seasons.
Well, we know that the second season is greenlit. I don't know if they're
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a limited series kind of thing,
No,
like two seasons
I don't
planned.
think so.
Okay, got it. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, but like, especially in the first season when you're trying to get everybody interested and hooked, it's hard to be like, yeah, let's go spend however much screen time on this story. Like maybe now that this has happened, maybe we're gonna see more of her cousin that showed up to the wedding and went to Damon and was like, hey, you suck. And he's like, oh, yeah, I don't care. Also, I own all of your stuff now. So, like, we might see more of him and we get it set up a little bit more. But I understand writing wise, there wasn't a reason to include her. But at the same time, I was sad that she wasn't in more stuff.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Well, why build up a big character if you're just gonna kill her off right away? And yeah, could have been cool. Could have been cool though.
That is very true. Could have been really cool.
We've gone pretty long talking about Game of Thrones, or House of the Dragon. So I do want to talk about Lord of the Rings for just a bit, but I do got to get going here shortly. So did you guys watch the newest episode or no?
Yes.
I have. Yes, I have.
Okay. So this was probably my favorite episode of The Rings of Power.
Oh.
I don't know about you guys.
Was it because you got to see parts of the flooding of Numenor?
That was a plus. The visions were pretty cool. I think it mostly had to do with that there was no Harfeet in it.
Wait, what the heck? You don't like them?
Dude, they are complete jerks, dude.
I think they're fun.
They are like the worst people in this world. Like they are like leaving people behind that have no family, that have a broken foot. Like they're jerks. The whole like I don't understand like the culture that the hobbits like eventually get to just does not resemble what there's like they currently have. And I get like cultures evolve over time, but like it doesn't seem related besides that they're small. Like that's the only comparison. And they're just, I don't know. They're so annoying to me.
Isn't that part of it though? Like that's just like, I don't know. That's just part of their culture. Like, yeah, they're bogus to one another, but that's just like part of them. I really enjoy I don't know. I enjoy it.
No, they're just complete jerks. I have no sympathy for that group at all. Like, I mean, yeah, it sucks that I don't even know any of their names. But female Frodo and female Sam, like they're fine. They're just a copy and paste of literally Frodo and Sam. Nothing interesting is going on besides presumably Gandalf.
You think that's Gandalf?
I don't, but most of the internet does. I think.
I've heard
Go ahead.
that people. Well, I have a friend who's very into the books, and she was like, "I would be very mad if that was Gandalf because he would be way too early in the timeline." She's like, "If it's
Yeah,
Saruman,
well,
fine, but
no, it better not be Saruman. Um, but if it's they've already messed with the time so much, like it's not outside of the realm of possibility that it's Gandalf. I would rather it be one of the blue wizards, but I don't know if they're going to do that. So um but yeah, anyways, I the Harfoots just are annoying to me, all that to say. So this episode was great.
um,
um
Brandon,
Go ahead.
it's you are in the minority. I'm looking on IMDb right now. Every episode has a 7.3. The fourth one has a 7.2.
Oh, dang.
So, which is kind of funny because like House of the Dragon, it went the lowest, like I said, was I think 8.4, but it was like, anywhere from 8.4 to 9.2, and they were all different. And this one is just consistently 7.3. Except
Yeah.
for this past one, 7.2.
So I am pretty convinced that oh, you said Saruman, not Sauron. I got that confused earlier about the wizard.
Oh, yes.
That's why I said it better not be Saruman, because I thought it was the
Sauron.
I thought you said Sauron. I really think the guy with Galadriel is Sauron. I'm pretty convinced of that after this.
You think
episode.
he's Sauron?
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
So, because there was a whole spiel when they were locked in the dungeon about how, like, when they were talking about, like, why she was there or whatever. And he was talking about, I don't remember exactly how it went, but along the lines of, like, you figure out what people want and you, like, give them the solution to it and you control it, and which is what the rings of powers are.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of the Numenor, like, captain guy, and I was how does that work? But you talk about the guy that she was shipwrecked with, and it was in the
discount Aragorn.
Yes.
So I'm fairly convinced he's Sauron.
You don't think he's the king, the lost king, or whatever?
Yeah, you could describe him as the lost king.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's Sauron.
Okay. This is I feel like this part of the show is good because I could say, as with all these episodes, like, yeah, it was good, and then I can ask Brandon all the nerdy questions. So I know Mithril is like an elven thing, and like it's what stops Frodo from being stabbed by the giant troll when they go to Khazad-dûm. And he's fine, and it's like super lightweight. But the dwarves discover it. Is that like have the elves already discovered it, and are they already using it, or is that the first time that we've seen Mithril in?
Yeah, so that's the first time that anyone's discovered Mithril, and I'm pretty sure that the dwarves are the ones that are supposed to discover it in the Silmarillion. I'm not like 100%. I'd say I'm 80% sure about that. And then they usually like sell it to like whoever's can afford,
right?
Because it is extremely difficult to mine. Like they were talking about, like the mountain does not like to get rid of those veins. So they did a pretty good job with that. It's never described as glowing, so that was a little interesting. I didn't hate it, but yeah, it was pretty fun. I thought that the scenes with the dwarves, it felt better. I was a little iffy on like how they were like portraying them. Just like they seemed very dopey. In the first time, like the first episode we were introduced to them, and I wasn't a huge fan of it, but like this episode portrayed them in a much better light.
Yeah, I would say, Well, I guess here's a question for you guys, and Brandon. I think I kind of know your answer. Um, Between the storylines we have with the Harfoots, Galadriel and Numenor, Arondir, and the townspeople with the orcs, and are those all the storylines? The Harfoots, Galadriel, and Arondir. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, I think
Which one are you most interested in?
so.
For me, Brandon, for you, I'm going to guess it's Galadriel, Arondir, and then 1,000 other things, and then the Harfoots. For me, I think that is, wait, the dwarves. I forgot about the dwarves. Wow.
You I think you'd mentioned your first pass.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are four.
Yeah.
It's the dwarves, Galadriel, Arondir, Harfoots. For me, I think it's the dwarves with Elrond is like I'm most interested in that. Then Galadriel, then Arondir, and the orcs. Just because nothing really seems to be happening there. Like they're running away from orcs, and the orcs are mean, and that's really it. I don't know. I think I might put the Harfoots in front of them because the Harfoot we're trying to figure out what's going on with the Meteor Man. Like I'm more interested in that than whatever. Like this kid has the hilt of the sword, which is like, yeah, that's bad. You know, I know that's bad, and there you go. That's all I feel like I really need to know for that.
I have a tough time ranking them. I don't know. I think Galadriel, like she just annoys me. Like she's just so annoying to me.
Yes.
Like I don't know. Like that's like probably my least favorite, just because like I'm like, can we just cut to somebody else? Like
she's like 1,000 years old and has the temper tantrum of like a 5-year-old.
That, and it's just she's just not very like. I just don't think also the actor is very good. Like it's just I feel like she's supposed to be pretty. Maybe not. Maybe she's not supposed to be charismatic, but it's just like I just don't see it at all. I don't know.
She is in the book.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's my biggest complaint is just I don't know. She's just really annoying to me. Which I don't know if that's bogus or not, but that's how I feel.
I don't really have a problem with the actor or really how she's playing the character. I feel like I think the reason that I am more interested in that storyline besides the dwarves is just because like it's there's the most stuff happening.
Yeah, like, I do really enjoy the Halbrand stuff, and then also the captain, whatever his name is, with the kids. Yeah. I think there's a lot of interesting things happening there.
Do you guys know who Isildur is?
Yeah, he's
his kid,
the king that kills or cuts off Sauron's fingies with the ring.
Yes. Okay, I just want to.
That's why I was a little confused.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because like he mentioned that, and he goes, he's just like, "Oh, my son Isildur," and I was like, "Wait, is that the same guy?" Because how did he become the king if he's just like he can't even cut it as a soldier or a shipman in the navy? Yeah, in this completely different kingdom.
Yeah, so the Numenor, like they live like a very long time, like much longer than like I think it goes like age, like who dies first. Like elves live the longest, and then Numenorians, and then dwarves, and then man, and then hobbits. So like it's not like super weird that he's like alive now, like before like the events of Lord of the Rings.
All right, that's good to know, I guess.
Yeah, so I guess back to ranking. I don't know. It's pretty tough. I think they're pretty equal. I enjoy the dwarves side of it. I really enjoy the couple. Them two are so good together. Yeah. I'm so bad with names, so I don't know any of the names.
I remember Durin. I don't remember The wife.
Yeah, him and his wife. I really enjoy them as a pairing. So I really enjoy them, and they're like whenever they're on screen. Elrond, that's the elf guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is?
Yeah, he also kind of is to me.
Who is Arwen's dad or Eowyn? Why are they so similar? Which one is which?
Because Tolkien. Eowyn is the blonde female that stabs one of the wraiths at the and then
Arwen is the elf who marries Aragorn.
Yes,
got it.
I think.
I think that's what it is. It's also confusing because you see more of Eowyn, but Arwen is the one who like actually marries Aragorn. It's a lot.
Yeah. So, it's hard to say what my favorite is. I can tell you what my least favorite is, and that about sums up my experience with Rings of Power so far.
Man, brutal.
Do you think you're gonna watch? If there's a second season, do you think you're gonna watch it? Like, just if this all goes, if this all just kind of continues how it's been, do you think you're gonna watch if there's a second season?
If it doesn't get better, probably not.
I will say, so right now there are so many things coming out, just like in terms of shows and everything. And me and Kenzie are watching. So we started, and it was we needed to watch Rings of Power and House of the Dragon every week. Now, Handmaid's Tale is releasing again. So now we're at Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, Handmaid's Tale. Also, we watch The Bachelorette, and that happens each week. So we've 4 shows. The Star Wars show is premiering on Wednesday. So for me, like, I'm going to watch that. She-Hulk is also something that I've kind of enjoyed. Like, it's kind of fun. I know people hate it, but I like it. So I'm up to 6 shows a week. And of the 4, like Handmaid's Tale, House of the Dragon, Lord of the Rings, Bachelorette doesn't count. That's a different thing. But of those 3, I would say I'm least interested in the Rings of Power. And I haven't seen the new season of Handmaid's Tale yet, or those new episodes. So that may be wrong, but this is the show that, like, if we had to drop something from the list, I think we might drop this one. But at the same time, like, I still am interested, and I want to see what's going on because just visually, it's really cool.
True.
That's a lot.
Dude, I'm just so shook that you hate the Harfoots so much.
Yeah, well, I don't need to harp on that anymore. So I got to get going. So let's end this episode by saying our name. And if we think that Alicent Hightower, the Queen, will be alive by the end of this season. My name is Brandon, and I think she is definitely going to be alive.
I'm Kyle, and yeah, I agree. I think alive.
I'm Davis, and just to make it interesting, I think she'll be dead.
Good talking to you
That's
guys.
all, folks.
Join our Patreon.
Yeah, if I can figure that out.
If you're able to, join our Patreon.
We're talking to you, one of 5 people.
Yeah.
They should just automatically be founders at this point. Give them the ultimate tier. They deserve it.
All right, I will.
$1 a month. It's your NFT.
Oh, wow.
And the title of least optional opinion.
Yeah, if you do $1 a month, we'll give you an NFT, and you get to pick our next movie.
Oh. Guys, there's so many
Whoa.
movies coming out that I'm interested in. I could probably spend another hour talking about that, but none of us have.
Well,
so
no, I gotta get going. So bye bye.
see you guys.
All right, peace out.